So I'm doing interview here right now about what happens here in San Francisco in front of the Bohemian Park with a vast amount of the universe. I thought I could record this so you guys could all hear it. Can you hear me? So we're discussing what happened in Kabashi Maru and how it came to being 5-1 to power death, and as what happens here in San Francisco. So in a brief overview of what happened, we were speaking about how I came down into the tarmac on a rock, and basically the galaxy can't exist without me, and I can't exist without the galaxy. And so I got a black hole stuck between I flying off in space and on a rock, and the galaxy being sucked down onto the tarmac. So as the galaxy starts going to the tarmac, I get pulled back out on that rock, going back into the great attractor, and that's where I make first contact with the great attractor, and we discuss how that relates to Vermont here in West St. Francis. So, okay. I got them all ready for this. So, what was that? Oh, that's why this is here. Okay. So she was saying that we all don't remember right now because of what just happened. There's the big brain fart across the universe, and nobody's remembering what we were just talking about. So what it's been doing is pulling me back in time like after each one of these presentations, in a sense where I'm in universe time before my announcement and started, and so by the end of my presentation, I've gone back in universe time while still going forward in present time. So people away from the arena or the listening don't remember what we were just talking about because this time collapse and time crash, in which in the universe time went backward and you still went forward. But therein lies somehow or another there's a connection there with our mentality of what's going on out there, of time being effective upon our memories. Okay, so that's a big subject that's going to come up in my presentations. Again, what we were talking about is how the origins of what's going on here in San Francisco started. And so now let's keep track on it. That's why I'd like to do a presentation on one subject and do real intensive on that one subject. What's that? But somehow you don't think we're green hearing upstairs. Okay, I'm trying to tell you, Aaron, that the present that we all speak in is one common present across the universe. It's the same day everywhere, same time. Right? 10 o'clock in London, the same as 10 o'clock here. Right? So when I'm talking to you, international night, in some senses, it's reaching you at 10 o'clock in London, as well as 10 o'clock here at the same time. So, in explaining what's going on there, I'll just write that up. In my presentation about time and what's going on there in the fifth dimension, in the creation and procreation there of Gaia, I spewed out strings of planets. And those strings of planets, right, when they came out, it's as I got pulled backwards in time in their procreation in which these planets out there, although are in the future, are in my same present. So I have a present that spans all of these worlds, except that one common present of Mother Nature. So every world has its own common present in that sense, outside of time zones and rotation around the planet. So we sprayed out a vast number of times, and I said before, in my relationship with the great attractor, getting pulled back down there, she had me do 23 orbits on the surface, spraying out 2/3 of the universe of mass. Does it stop my bus? time. So it's spraying out 2/3 of known universe's mass. We got stuck in the saddle there, in a sense, where the galaxy was coming in, and I'm being pulled on the tarmac, and the great attractor made arrangements so that at that point there would be the full, complete dissipation of the singularity. Okay, that full, complete singularity, right? We're coming all of this mass out of hole, and that's called a white hole expansion. So I did a white hole expansion here in San Francisco, which is coming out, the side in which the mass is coming out of, and as well as did a black hole expansion on the other side of that, where all the mass is going in, right? And so that pulled those two points back into one common present over a span of universe space-time. Span of universe space-time. Okay, so with the black hole expansion, white hole expansion I've been doing here in San Francisco, and the collision there in the western St. Francis, the largest kinetic energy impact ever seen in the universe, in which I stood on that corner and pushed with all of my might, earning the name of Atlas, the strongest man in the universe, one of the Olympians. That collapse of mass, as I saw going in underneath that collision, going in, sucking the pavement in which I went over there and pushed with all of my might and started to go back the other direction. Okay, so realizing that on its way out, it started to come out really fast, and I'm starting to think maybe this is not the greatest idea of a Big Bang, right? And knowing that I had some gaps of existence possibly coming up in my past on this, I started to go, wait a second, right? I started pushing it back in. So I took it for a period of time where the well's going in all by itself. I go in and push it, pull it out, right? And then it started coming out, and I'm thinking, wait. So I pushed it back quite a bit, and then balanced it there with a slow steep that's coming out. Okay? So I balanced this there, and then on top of that, with God's trebuchet on Grant and Pine, right? They put me in an arm wrestling competition where it went all the way up to the top of the universe against God's trebuchet. And I thought, you can't be serious. But seriously, so there, right there on the top of the hill, just before Pine, right? I get a dink, and it taken me from the bottom there of the well and threw it with all of its might, and I got to 5 feet, and it just came to a stop. And with the dissipation there, both me and the singularity of Pine and Grant, completely, we became a infinitely massive point in space with no mass. I'm the lightest, infinitely massive object in the universe. Okay. Alright, so going on about space-time, then that allows me, with that infinitely massive arena, to do acceleration from 0 to 69, 72 nines, 78 nines light speed, right? Instantaneously in an arena in which I can, in 3 meters, right? 3 meters, accelerate up to that speed, in a sense, down into another realm at that speed, at a 0.03 g acceleration to those speeds. Right. So I have that, so that all of the light ships of the universe also have that capability, and it originates here with me, in and around the ability for faster light ships to be able to come down from light speed and make 90-degree turns and then return them at light speed and disappear. And I know you guys have all seen that on satellite where it just goes, and goes the other direction. Okay, so they're limited to a lot less than light speed in that arena of space-time travel than I am. Okay, so as we were talking about space-time, what I do know about is that we have a common present across billions and trillions of worlds all over the universe, and it's demonstrated by me doing a gigantic appropriation there in Chinatown, appropriating Chinatown across the universe, and a challenge that there's no such thing as a grandmaster in planetary sculpture, right? An appropriation thereof of Gaia. So they did about, I think it's about 2 months ago now, more than 2 weeks, and less than 2 months, which I did appropriation, what they call a streak, the largest ever seen in the universe, populating, what was it, 40 million galactic. 40 million, I didn't think it's like 40 million galaxies in minutes. 40 million galaxies in total. I think that's what it was, 40 million galaxies in total. So on one streak I populated 40 million plus galaxies in total in a streak that went literally all the way across the universe. And that was just done recently. So back to the time on the worlds, think of it this, like here on the sidewalk we have squares, right? And each one of those squares, right, is another world, right? So in reality, all we see is our world we're standing on in that one square, right? Now, these worlds down this direction, right, get younger all the way to back over there to come back to here. Okay? So I'm on the oldest of the worlds on that string, right? Which go younger in what age of which they were created. So the calendar, right, for me, is the same all the way across all of those worlds. Except the calendar for them is different. Some were before and some were after. Now, there's a point there where they match up. Okay, so that's what I'm discussing right now. I'd like to call this noise. Again, this is a conversation I'm having on Universe TV. I thought you all might like to hear it.